I'm gonna delete that quick.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's council meeting this Monday, September the 11th, 2017 at 7:10 p.m. Ms. Berry, if you'd call the roll, please.
Casey Brown.
Here.
Willie Johnson.
Here.
Rob Powell.
Here.
Danny McDaniel is absent. Tim Terry is absent. And Lance Terry is present. He's just not present up here. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. If you would please stand, tonight we're going to do things just a little bit different, not completely, but in honor and in memory of 9/11. First of all, I'd like to ask Pastor Quentin Rowan from Howardville Assembly of God to step forward to the mic, if you would, and I'm going to play something on my phone, and if you would just pause for a few moments and think about 16 years ago today, and where you were and what was going on and what has happened since then. So we'll do that, and then if you'll lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by our Chief Steward Brian.
I want to begin by reading a scripture. 1 Timothy 2:1-2 says, I urge you first of all to pray for all people. Ask God to help them, intercede on their behalf, and give thanks for them. Pray this way for kings and all who are in authority, so that we can live peaceful and quiet lives marked by godliness and dignity. I want to say thanks for the opportunity to pray over this council meeting tonight as well. Father, as we come before you tonight, we ask for your grace and mercy to continue to flow in our lives. Lord, we give you thanks for all those who serve in public office and with public duties, Lord, firemen, police officers, mayors, councilmen. God, we thank you for the sacrifice that they made, sacrificing time with their families. Lord, we stand in awe tonight of your presence, and we know, God, that you have been graceful to us, not only in the city of Greenwood, but in the United States of America for many, many years. We thank you, God, as we reflect on September 11th, 2001. We thank you, Lord, for all of those who gave their lives, and Lord, who put their lives on the line to rescue others. We thank you for those that are fighting for our freedoms now, even still today, God, as a result of what happened on that day. And we pray your continued favor, mercy, and protection upon them, God. Lord, I pray for this council tonight, as well as Mayor Kinslow. I pray that you would give them guidance, Lord, that you would direct every step that they would take. I pray, Father, that you would give them wisdom as they conduct not just the city's business, but ultimately, Lord, it's your business, because we are all in your hands. I pray, Father, that you would let every decision that they make be made based upon what you would do. Father, we give you the praise for that. In Jesus' name, we ask it so that we may live peaceable and quiet lives that are marked by godliness and dignity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor. And thank you, Chief. At this time, I would ask that the council, if you have not had a chance to take a moment to look at the minutes for the August 7th council meeting and the August 30th special call council meeting, and ask for approval of those minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for both the general council meeting and the special call meeting.
Second. Motion and second to approve those minutes.
Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Vice Chair?
Thank you. At this time, on your agenda also, we have approval of the mayor's mileage report. Haven't done the report. Again, I keep saying this, but thankful to the council for approving last year, I guess it was, the purchase of a new city vehicle that we're able to use. So that's been very.
So it's not that you're just not driving?
That's
anywhere?
exactly.
Okay.
We, in fact, Sonny Bell and I, planning director, went to Little Rock last week to visit with Jim Von Tunlin on some planning issues. So it's coming in very handy. It's very, very, very nice to have. You just have to remember to put gas in it. I found that out the hard way one day. But it coasts very well. I'll tell you later if you'd like to know. But thank you for that. Recognitions and acknowledgements. I had the privilege and great honor of swearing in not swearing at, but swearing in a new police officer recently, Miss Rebecca Martis, and I think we're going to call her Becca. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I would like to introduce to you Miss Becca Martis. She moved here from Illinois, so if you stand up and let everybody see you. Rebecca, I told, did I give you one of these already?
No, you did not.
Is she tall or what? I don't know. This is a little pin. It's not, well, it is official. It's our official emblem of the city, and we'd like for you to have that. I was able to give her badge just recently. So our newest member to our police department. They look a lot better than they used to, right? I'm sorry, it's tacky, but thank you, Becca, for coming. We'll go right into committee reports, I believe. I think I had something else, but I'll see. Did I? Harry's back. Yes, you're here. If you'd like to come up this time, that would save you from a 4-hour meeting. If you,
What, mine's
This is
4
Miss-
hours long.
Miss Beverly Bauer, I think I'm saying that right,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Came to visit with me last week, I think it was, and kind of explained what's going on with Area Vac and who they are, so I thought it'd be important to let council know.
I appreciate it, and thanks a lot. My name is Beverly Bauer. I'm membership sales manager for Airdac 22 out of Paris, which is considered your helicopter ambulance service. With me tonight, I have Rick Rouser, who is our program director. Well, I'm just dropping everything, so I'll leave it there. He's our program director as well as one of our RNs, and I think on the end of his name, he's got all kinds of initials, but I don't really know what all they are, so I'll let you talk to him about that. I do want to thank you for allowing me to come tonight. I was the city clerk and treasurer for Subiaco for many years, and I know that you guys have on your mind that you want to get through the business and get on home, and I appreciate that, so I'm going to try to make this as quick and painless as I can. But I did come and visit Doug, but it's been 2 months, Doug, not last week.
Okay, well, last week, 2 months. Something like that.
And I talked to him about our service because I wanted him to understand what we were all about and wanted to, help get some help as far as getting it out into the communities. So he asked me to come tonight, and I appreciate that. I'm going to give you just a really short history of our service. We started out in West Plains, Missouri, and it was because of a man that his father was very ill, and he made him a promise he's going to keep him alive as long as he could. However, his illness, he really needed to live close to a major hospital, but he lived up in the Missouri mountains, and that's exactly where he wanted to stay. So his son started thinking about air service, and he got enough backers, to make a long story short. He got enough backers to start out the first helicopter ambulance service for Airvac back in 1985. I believe, if I'm right, between 85 and 97, there were 3 other ones put in. And then when we went in 2001, that was number 22. And today we have, along with the rest of the Air Med Care Network, we have over 320 helicopters and airplanes in 39 states. So you can see it's grown by quite a bit. I'll tell you a little bit about our helicopter and what we have on board. And basically we have a complete emergency room on board. It's what you would see in an emergency room, except in a little bit smaller form. We have an RN that has kind of at least 3 years experience in a high-level ICU or trauma unit, a paramedic that has to have at least 3 years experience on the ground, and a pilot, unless this has changed, Rick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 3,000 hours flight time for our pilot before he can fly for us. And I was thinking that might have changed at one point, but I knew that's what it used to be anyway. Our helicopter basically is normally put in a rural area because that's where they use us the most. However, some of our helicopters are in more like bigger towns, but it has a lot of rural area around it. So each helicopter covers somewhere between 10 and 15 counties, and that's something they can get to in like 30 minutes or less, and gives them 30 minutes or less to get to a major hospital. And that keeps us within the goal hour, which is medically proven if you get to where you need to be in less than an hour, your chances of survival increase a great deal. So we serve this area from our Paris helicopter. We're not the only one that can. I mean, we've got Spring Hill, we've got DeQueen, we've got some over in Oklahoma area that could get over here pretty quick. So, but your helicopter is considered to be the Paris helicopter. I wanted to kind of go over, the reason I felt like it's important to talk to you guys is I've been noticing a big increase in the flight calls that we're getting out of Sebastian County. I was telling Doug that in May of this year, we had 51 calls out of Sebastian County. Now, that doesn't mean we actually did the flight. Sometimes they're canceled. Sometimes we can't fly due to weather. That's one of our limitations. But we actually had 51 calls for our helicopter. And I don't have a clue how many we actually flew, but I do know that we got a lot of calls. Now then, the last few months, it's been about 30 or 35 calls. And as of September the 8th, we had 10 calls from Sebastian County. So that's, more than one a day then. Excuse me. I gave y'all all a sheet of paper, and I wanted you to open it up to the first one, and it shows you the penetration level for the counties that AirBack 22 serves in. Now, these counties in Arkansas are the ones that I work in for sure, but our group from Paris may fly into other areas as well, so they're not limited to working from these counties where I am. But if you'll take a look at it and go down to Sebastian County, you'll see that there's only 1.473% of members in the Sebastian County area. And that's, with us getting so many flights, that means a lot of people are getting huge bills that they wouldn't actually have to get. So I wanted you to take a look at that. And actually, Franklin County, Johnson, Scott, and Logan are the ones that support us the most through the membership program. Now, Logan County used to be over 40%, and you can see that came down quite a bit. A lot of people have their mindset, well, okay, we got it here, I didn't use it, so I'm not going to do the membership any longer. Well, that's like buying a cancer policy and saying, I hope I get to use that, because you're not buying it hoping you'll get to use it, you're buying it hoping to keep it in the area and hoping it'll be there whenever you need it. Okay, on the next page on this flyers that I handed out to you, AirBack is the largest air ambulance service in the United States, but we joined forces with several other air services, and you can kind of see a picture right here of some of the other air services that are part of the Air Medicare group. And then if you turn on over to the other page, you'll see that you'll see a map. At the bottom map is just strictly AirBack. And then the top map is AirBack and the other air services. And if you'll notice, we're finally went into Hawaii and Alaska too. So there's a big coverage area, and if you're a member of our service, you're a member with all of them. I'm sorry about my throat. I've had so much allergies this past week. The cost of a helicopter that we give to an area is somewhere around $2.5 million. Average cost of $3,000 to $5,000 a day expense, and we're only funded by membership. We're not funded by government or anything else. So in order for us to keep the helicopter in the area, we do need membership. And we hope that after tonight you will consider the membership program. But membership cost versus flights is a big difference. We've got several plans. We got a lot of business plans. Some of them can be discounted. The actual price is on the inside of this application here. And it's usually $65 a year for your household, whoever lives under your roof. They don't have to be kin to you, but they do have to live under your roof. If you'll notice, we have 6 plans. We have a monthly plan, 1, 3, 5, 10, and 25-year plan. The more years you do it, the more that you save on it. Our flight cost is usually around $40,000, but I've been hearing from a man over here that his was quite a bit more than that. But we give you an opportunity not to have to pay for any of that. Now, I know most insurance pay very little. I hope his pays more. State insurance only pays $5,000. That kind of give you an idea about how much insurances are paid. And I will tell you that Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi are the 3 worst insurance states, the 3. So they're not paying us very much. Whenever we give a helicopter to an area, it is around, I think I've already told you that it's around $2.5 million. So we do need that support from you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it in this area for everyone. I'm going to kind of stop right now and see if you got any questions. You might have questions later. I did give you my name and phone number. I gave each of you a business card, and as well as on the applications as well too. So we hope that you have some questions. Do you have any at all that you'd like to ask anyone in the audience or on the board, either one?
Well, I just see is like about for the price of a Happy Meal a month, you can have
Yeah.
this kind of
I know it.
service. And I think
And right now, you can't even get that,
Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer, you know, but I mean, a lot of people don't see it that way, especially in Sebastian County and Beaufort. They don't feel like they'll ever use it because of where they're at, and because they're close to two major hospitals. But like I was telling you, how many flights we've gotten out of Sebastian County, and you're not always in Sebastian County. I mean, you know, you're good everywhere that we're at. You don't just sit in the middle of Sebastian County and don't go anywhere else. So you might be down in our area in Harrison and happen to meet us. I will tell you that the actual way to call us is, the best way to call us is by dialing 911 and asking them to get us an air. Now, that doesn't mean we'll be used. It does mean that we'll be coming. If we are needed, we'll be there. If not, we turn around and go home. There's no cost to anyone. We try to go by each county's protocol, but as far as we're concerned, anyone can call 911 and request us. But the only ones that can call our emergency number is like first responders, EMS, law enforcement, hospitals. Once you get to the hospital, the doctor has to be the one that calls, but you can always tell them who you want. And so we've got a lot of different ways for you to make contact with us. But if it's not serious life or limb like you think it might be, then there's nobody going to get a cost or a charge for that then. Anybody else? Well, I thank you for your time. I hope I didn't hurt too bad.
Didn't hurt at all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
The timing of this is kind of interesting. As you know, we met Mr. Marshall here. His
Yeah.
wife was recently injured in Fort Smith and carried back, I believe, to UAMS. So I think the best thing to happen on the worst day of your life, probably very fitting. I think Tom could testify to that. So thank you for that information. I thought it was important for everybody to
If
get.
you have any flight questions or medical questions, you can definitely ask Rick about it.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate that. Committee reports, Sebastian County Boys and Girls Club. I didn't see Kenny in the audience. I don't know if you have a written report from him tonight. No. So if you have any questions, certainly could call him. I saw him just the other day, and they were pretty busy out there with their sports. Lisa will lead, put in a report from Senior Citizen Center. Parks Commission, thank you again for coming. Ms. Bell's here if you have any questions of Richard. I think I know there's a report. Erie Grounds Consulting was not going to be able to be here tonight. Be specific.
Yeah, I just wanted us to carry a message to the meeting that there's really no activity to report on this month. However, he's in the middle of research about medical marijuana issue. He says it's coming to Sebastian County. He's going to team up with Police Chief Will Dawson and get with him about, you know, where we're at on it, and then bring something to you all next month, just to give you a heads up of where that stands.
Okay. Michael's not here from the MAHG, and then Water Wastewater Commission, Mr. Rattery's here. Did you also put in a written report?
I put in a written report, but I just want to make sure if I needed to answer any
Sure.
questions related to Jones.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Mr. Rattery regarding the Jones property or anything like that, or anything else? Nope. The
Deer Run.
Deer Run.
Deer Run.
Deer Run.
Overlook. What's been resolved?
Nothing.
Okay. Deer Run, is something been proposed,
Well, I think we're-
what is wanting to be accepted? And I assume this is in your written report.
At this point in time, we're just kind of waiting for them to submit a plan to the water and wastewater department so that those can be reviewed. Recommendations were made from Hawkinsware, because Hawkinsware is the holder of our model. So the recommendations were made to the Joneses, and I'm assuming that they've engaged in their engineering firm that they've hired, but we have not been submitted any plans today.
Does this affect the preliminary plat approval?
it shouldn't have any impact on the plat approval. I think they've already got approval from the plat. This is only, they've got to get a stamp on, an engineer stamp on those plans and then submit them to us. And I'll also have to submit them to the health department for approval as well. To my knowledge, none of those things have been done yet. So we're just holding.
So they can continue to move forward, they just can't move forward with water until y'all approve it?
Correct. I think they got a little bit of cart before the horse. They actually went out for bid already. But they
Tank
did
that
on,
hasn't been approved?
huh?
For a tank that has not been approved?
And for a tank, the health department hadn't approved either. But the bid was based on the old schematics and the old plan that was developed years ago. I think that's
12 years ago now?
Yeah. So, and I think that's been corrected. Jeremy met with them, Jeremy Shores, met with them to try to help clarify some of that. But at this point in time, we're just waiting for them to submit those plans with his recommendations on it, because his recommendations follow state guidelines and our water model to meet our fire flood and fire needs.
And I'll say too, on that note, is that the Joneses were in my office this week. I get my announcements, but I think that's right. They were in this week, and we had a good visit, or I did, with the Joneses and son, father, husband, wife, and son, and just to kind of clarify, and I think they had been, maybe had spoken to Mr. Terry as their councilman, to make sure that they're following the right procedure. Like you said, I think they jumped the gun on that one issue, and I think that's been taken care of. And there's just a lot of things. You've got different engineers working on it, trying to get everything together. But I just was
Bottom line is, I mean, might as well cut through the red tape. She's wanting the city to partner up with her. And
Well-
that's what she's wanting in a nutshell. I mean, you get right down to it, because the old plans, what I gathered from her through our weekly conversation we had, is that she's going off Randy Coleman and them do, to the exact words. And that isn't, they're not our engineer anymore. Matter of fact, I think they sued the city. So,
But their plans won't even meet our current
right,
specs.
so we've gone back as a council, we've even made it clear to Steve, to them, that we want to make sure that whatever, we took the wrong pump station. And that's what I told her, we don't took the run on this $500 million pump station, we're going to make sure that's right, or we're not doing it, or we're not. And she keeps throwing out there about wanting us, to partner up, I mean, basically in roundabout terms of us, getting on board to do, because I don't think this, from what I gather, me and Steve kind of had a chit chat, but, we're trying to fix Hilltop. Hilltop has no fire protection. I mean, if we're going to do this, and that may be something where we have to get on board, but she don't want to spend more money on engineer fees. That was her words to me. She said, I've already spent all this money on engineer fees, and then they're saying this won't work. But what you were trying to do, what I figured, was use the old stuff that doesn't work. And now Jeremy come back with what we're needing from our new engineers, and it's not the same. But from my understanding, I thought she was going to be here tonight, because she kept on. I told her, I said, look, I said, if you want to voice your opinion, you need to show up at council meeting, because we'll listen to you. You can speak. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't speak. So,
As soon as we get a plan submitted to us, we'll take it and run with it, and we'll get it expedited and do what we can to make what we can.
I assured her in my office and her and the whole family that there's nobody, whether council, certainly my office, that's trying to keep them from doing anything. We want this subdivision. I think it's good for Greenwood. But I did say, very specifically, I said, this is what I said, and I don't know if this is perfect, but I said, to my knowledge, what the council has approved, what the planning commission, what everybody's kind of on board with, like what you were just saying, whatever it is that the Joneses need to make their subdivision work with water, they are responsible for, and they are on the hook for, and they have to pay for, whether it's engineering, cost of the tank. But at the same time, due to commission's suggestions or council suggestions and or ideas, anything that would be done to improve Maple Ridge Heights, something that's not quite right there, whether it be fire protection or just water pressure, and certainly Hilltop, for those folks that are up there, is going to be on the city. And I think the council and the commission as a whole will entertain that very much. We want to do what we can do as we're doing it.
that's what I told her.
So it seemed pretty plain, and they, you know, I think sometimes things get muddled around, but no, they do want, and I don't blame them, they'll take as much help as they can get. But I've made it as clear as I could that what they're doing for the new subdivision is on them, and anything above and beyond that would be on us, if the city chooses to do that. So,
Well, you know, if you put it aside as to who's going to pay for what or how much it's going to cost until we see a plan.
right, exactly.
It's got to get held
So
for
they-
approval and an engineer's
Yeah,
stamp.
and
It's not
I think
going
they
anywhere.
I think they stumbled a little bit with that, and I think they're back on track, and we went through that plan again of how things are supposed to work. And I know the Edwards are here, not necessarily for this particular reason, but they live on the hilltop up there, and there's some concern from those citizens. And I want to make sure, and other citizens that have come and called that are from that area that are concerned about the construction of the tank. We don't know what that is yet. They have provided, the Joneses have provided some geological information about what's up there, rock-wise and all that sort of thing. So all that has yet to be looked at. I mean, but that's a little bit farther down the road. But I would hope that, I hope that the folks at Hilltop know that we're going to do our best to make sure that things are done properly, and without obviously destroying any homes up there. But I understand.
I just tried to let her know that she needed to get whatever those,
Right.
the commission was asking her to get,
Right.
she needs to get that done because it'll have to, that's the process.
Right.
And.
Yeah, and I didn't tell them anything different.
And so, I mean,
And I think we have an ordinance, or at least a planning guide that lays out that process, which
Sure.
you guys have a copy.
Thank you.
and like I said, I think the deal, the whole nutshell with trying to get him kind of disgruntled is because I think they thought that 12-year-old engineer was going to work, and because she blatantly told me she didn't want to pay no more engineer fees. And so, I don't know what to tell you on that.
I think they're fully aware. This came more from Mr. Jones than her. But he looked at me right in the eye and said, I know this is not the right tank and not the right, so we kind of have to start over. So,
Well, we're here to do whatever we can to help it along that way, but we've got to have something looked at first.
Would they know to, not really prohibit receipt with any engineering studies unless would you like to try to approve of what the concept is as far as the engineering
No,
study guidelines on there?
We provided them, Jeremy Shores
Okay.
provided them a document that identifies exactly what that tank needs to be to be able to meet the minimum requirements.
Oh, okay.
They just did not incorporate those minimum requirements into their plan.
I see.
I think, not getting too detailed, there's a little bit of battle of engineering going on there, if you will, between a couple of different companies.
Yeah, I mean, we got one that's bashing us to the ground,
Yeah, so.
bottom line. I'll say it.
Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Citizen forum, had no one sign up this evening, and if you didn't know, to sign up, you're certainly still welcome to do that. You can get up here in 5 seconds flat. We would acknowledge you and let you speak tonight, but no one else has signed up other than Ms. Bauer, so we will, we'll go to agenda additions, and yes, I'm sorry, we have a few. We need to add a number 7. I have personnel policy handbook down, is that what you have on there?
Well,
We have a change,
yes.
or addition.
Resolution to amend the personnel policy for
Okay.
holiday pay.
So if you want to write all that down. Number 8, and I don't have the specifics, I know there are 2 police.
Resolution to spend donation.
Okay. Resolution to spend donations, police department. Number 9. This is what I had, number 9, if we,
Resolution to amend the police policy, sworn policy regarding sick time and vacation.
What was that again?
Resolution to amend the sworn personnel policy regarding sick time and vacation accrual.
and then number 10 is a finance. I just tend to put things in shorthand, so the way I can read finance resolution, and this is the fire station issue, I believe, yes.
Yes, regarding the loan origination fee.
Okay. And number 11 would be Mr., we're
Now,
Thank you. Josh Niles is here to speak on, and I had put something on your packet, I believe, before you came in, basically regarding putting down as a private club applications / city ordinance. Okay, this is number 11.
And then they add 12,
Yes.
adoption of remote access policy.
I think so. It even doesn't. We did so good for a couple months there, didn't we?
The other one.
Or maybe 1 month.
what does that tell you?
Okay, so we will go back to number 1, our old business. Mr. Bell?
So, pass out. Guys, have a copy of it. You got it? You got it? Okay.
Mayor, council, Mr. Fury, here tonight to ask for a second reading on the ordinance repealing and replacing ordinance 1310. We have a copy here that was brought to us just a little while ago. Your pal was over.
I have a copy here that's got some subtle changes, and I know it's kind of late and that time to digest it. We can kind of go through it page by page or whatever you like. We'd just be only putting it on for the second reading. Where you had some time, we could talk more in depth on the third reading, whatever you would like to do.
But just thumbing through it, I changes I see where we're taking guidelines and putting requirements on.
And that's the intent, right?
Yes.
Make sure there's no ambiguity, that these are requirements.
The thing that I do see that I kind of question is under the undesirable element, we've got highly reflective surfaces crossed out. To me, that's
Where are you?
on page
Page 424.
that we're going to allow them to put sheet iron on the front of a building, something highly reflective like that. We have tried to go away from that on our commercial properties, even our residential, that that they would allow metal siding, but would have to have some brick on it too.
I tend to agree with you, Sonny. I wonder if Michael and Travis have kind of have a modern flair to themselves.
I don't know, Travis was one of the ones that helped develop this ordinance.
I tend to agree with you on that.
And then metal siding on the main facade, that not everybody, for example, the NT building, it's got a brick facade with metal on there, and I think that should be something that should be approved. I don't know, I don't understand those two.
Sonny, and I tend to agree with you on page 7. Did you glance at that? And there's a question about, do you see it, about matching the current zoning? And we've changed zoning, but that was only residential, correct?
Yes.
So that would match our current zoning.
Yes, it would.
It's page 7, I'm sorry.
Questions. As I see it, the only real changes are changing guidelines to requirements, adding stone, and then marking off the 2 different desirable elements. Is there any other changes I'm missing?
That's the only thing I can see, Dr. Johnson.
Page 15.
15.
There's an addition on E. There's, that last line would be added, concrete mow strip separated by turf and shrub
It's
areas.
red on yours, it's not red on mine.
Yeah, we don't
What
want
kind of
your
copy, what kind of copy you doing out there, Karen?
Well, if you will let me buy a brand new copier, I would be glad
glad to
I
have
just
you.
want somebody to fix my vision. I can't figure out where I want to read like this or like that. Every time I look up, I get dizzy.
I think you did a great job, Tammy. You did
Thank
this in
you.
like 2 minutes, and I
So you
appreciate it.
add-
Because our copier company felt sorry for us, and we got a hand-me-down.
Yes, so if you look at E,
Somebody keeps
the
saying
last
that.
sentence is a new sentence. Concrete row strips separating turf and shrub areas are a requirement per the development regulations.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 15.
E.
I need a fancy drawing to help me understand that.
I kind of have to.
What is
That's
it?
good. You should-
I just figured it's me. What's a concrete mow strip? Yeah. You're not mowing with concrete.
Well,
Is it a?
It's
so
a-
if you pull into a parking lot, you're constantly running into the shrubbery before you hit the.
Oh, I got you. I got
You
you.
know, and you look over and the shrubs are all.
So this is
back
some
over.
kind of little concrete thing that marks off the greenery within the concrete, within the
No,
parking lot.
there's just a small strip of greenery, so
it-
the
Okay.
shrubbery doesn't
I got
get
it.
destroyed.
It's not really
Is there concrete involved?
Yeah.
Or is that just the word we want? I'm trying to hard on
Yeah, you
I
are.
understand it.
See where it means green grass.
Do you want it to be concrete or do you want it to be grass? Or do you just mean like concrete in the sense this is seriously, for real, concrete requirements?
I'll tell you, I'm working on a definition before the third reading.
I like it. I would want some clarification before we start those two.
I can clarify that
To,
before the third reading, and there'd probably be a much more in-depth.
Also, what else?
If you could go to page 20, Sonny. If everybody could turn to page 20.
Oh, so that whole thing was added?
Yes, and look at item H. This is an add-on. Much of the existing color in the city is derived from primary buildings, finished materials such as brick, and is adding stone, wood, stucco, terracotta tile, also dominant are earth tones that match these natural materials. Do we want to add requirement for a percentage of high-quality materials, such as requiring 50% of each element?
Says elevation.
Required for each elevation.
And where does it say for each elevation?
In the square.
In the square to the left.
Oh.
The question,
This whole thing's supposed to be red, they added all that.
Sonny, what's your first thought on that?
You put this on PowerPoint.
Is all this new? All those little other
Yes.
things? Oh,
No,
No,
no, only H would be added, is the squares.
what you're talking about.
To keep the highlights and landscape.
Those were real
Show
pretty.
them down there.
I like that, they have those in the city.
Very nice. I like it.
Sonny, do you know what a mow strip is?
Do what?
Do you know what a concrete mow strip is?
I don't think I
Got to
know.
find out.
Probably.
Looks like concrete.
I'm pretty sure the basketball, it is, I was about to say the basketball picture.
Old-fashioned word is
Pictures are double piece, but you know.
Slipped in here.
I think we pretty much do that anyway. I mean, I don't know if we do curtain and gutter. Back to this thing on page 20, Rod, I don't have a problem with stone. I'm having a problem understanding what the added requirement for percentage of high quality materials such as requiring 50% on each elevation.
I think what he must mean is that if it comes up, maybe what he's saying is 50% of the height of the wall, it's got to come up at least a certain percentage on the outside wall of the
Yes.
building, is that what he's saying?
Yes.
So instead of being like a foot, put a foot of rock, you got to put about half,
Right. Yeah. Instead of coming there and just throwing this little
Yeah, you
roll.
gotta go half of it.
You gotta.
at least half the wall's got to be some nice quality.
Well, we've always required like a wainscot, but again, like the EMT, we've got a wainscot there, but you raise that up to another, 8 foot.
I think 50% could be an entire wall, kind of like what we've done over here on the street department, which I agree with Lance, I think we should have got the other side. You may allow, 50% has to be high quality, the other 50% can be a low quality building material.
I think like quite a burden for, some of the projects that you've had, like, you know, the millers or EMT or, you know, Tractor Supply and all that, you know, Tractor Supply is about 50%.
Well, but that's a bad example, because they probably got, sure, 50%, they got to try and check, or they do that, retain them all up.
Now that I think about it, the Tractor Supply in Fayetteville, it might actually be Springdale. You know, it caught me the other day because it looked different than ours, because it did have more, it was higher, and then the entire wall was brick versus ours having wainscoting. And it looked better, and they had better landscaping. And I figured that was because they required it. The Tractor Supply said, if that's what it takes, we'll do it.
Are we talking about from the visible, or are we talking about the front of the building, or?
I would think so.
How about this, Rod, how about you clarify those issues for us a little bit for the next meeting? I'm okay with making it requirements instead of guidelines, but I'd like a little clarification on those other points.
Do y'all want to pass it for the second reading?
Yes.
One thing I would like to just add on page 15, where we talk about trees there on item H. Again, I was just wondering if we should specify a certain caliber of tree on page 15, item H.
Well, if you look in our residential, we specify 2-inch. Sonny?
No, it'd be a minimum of 2 inch, I would imagine. You know, I'd have to look and see. It is a 2 inch
We don't
minimum.
specify, we're likely to end up with a little twig out there that's 3 foot tall.
So can we write that in to add that?
So are you talking about on which letters? H?
H.
We're supposed to have a tree should be.
But I'm thinking, you know, somehow say, you know, the planted tree should be like, you know, 2 inch.
How do you want to word it?
Well, you may have to put another letter in there. You know,
What? Let's see.
tree should be located throughout the parking lot, in order to consider, if you look at the D, you can put it in D. Trees should be located, trees must be a minimum of,
Trees must be a minimum of 2-inch caliber.
yeah. That seems like a good place to put it.
Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about putting them in.
And should be selected from the city's official tree. Because the tree board's trying to get people to quit planting, you know, somebody may come out and put some red pears.
Would you say it must be approved by the tree board?
Yes, well, they don't have to, they don't need to call a tree board meeting. Sonny will have a list, and he say, here's your list. Pick
Must
it.
be from the
There's
tree-
30 on there, you pick it.
From the list approved by the tree board?
Sonny?
You have a list from the tree board, Sonny? or what?
Yeah. Recommended trees,
Yeah, so it could be, you can put that in there.
yeah, that's in our tree landscaping.
And selected from,
And I think that might be where I'm thinking that is a requirement, Rod, is in that ordinance there of the 2 inch. So we could either specify 2 inch or just say that it has to conform to that landscaping ordinance. But that would cover the caliber of the tree and the type of tree also.
so we make it scratch at and just say it must conform to the landscape ordinance.
Let me look and make sure that it is in there.
So for right now, let's pass it with AC's recommendation on the minimum tree 2-inch caliper, and then on the third reading, Sonny will have taken a look at the landscape ordinance, and it may be that we redo that item D, just to conform to the landscape ordinance.
We're gonna go back and undesirable elements and figure out on that how the reflective surface will,
I kind of lean with Sonny on that. I just assume,
I can see all kinds of bad things on that.
that's what needs to be left in there, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, not scratch.
Right, so we need to clarify that up for the next reading.
so undesirable elements are highly reflective surfaces.
And then the metal siding and, well, that's, I mean, we, both of those, just
Just not
number
going through
three.
that.
So let's remove both 3 and 4 being marked 3.
I'd appreciate that.
You're gonna put it back on there, so you're just gonna leave it.
Remove the walkthrough. yeah.
Remove it and mark.
Okay, that's-
Item 3 and 4 stay. All right.
Yeah, I'll for that.
Can you get your color copy and like make some changes and email me that
I will.
from
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
discussed? Thank you.
Okay.
And also on the face of the ordinance, on what we're gonna read, we put that commercial design requirements up there and everywhere in that, instead of regulations.
Yes,
Okay,
I'll make that happen.
I can make that part. I have that document. But I just don't have any colored document like you have, and it's a lot easier to make changes.
I will give this to you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to put this on for the second reading by title only with the changes.
Second. Got a motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
That's unanimous. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 13-10, commercial guidelines, and replacing with the adoption of commercial design requirements for the city of Greenwood, Arkansas, as authorized by Act 186 of 1997.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Chief Bryant.
Council, Mayor, Mr. Hanley, this is an ordinance, transfer administration of retirement coverage for the eligible members of the Greenwood Fire Prevention and Relief Fund for the Arkansas Local Police Fire Retirement System, which is WAPI, and authorizing the chief administrative officer to enter into an irrevocable agreement with WAPI. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Greenwood Fire Prevention and Relief Fund, which is our local plan, is elected to have its WAPI plan administered by WAPI as stated by resolution, which is in here. Basically, our old plan, which has about 12 members still left on it, has decided to go with WAPI, and it has to be passed by you as a council, because there is going to be some money that has to go into that. Let me just kind of lay out what we have going on. Our old plan is getting ready. It's not installed. It's actually pretty good right now, but it's heading in a downward spiral. And we've been asked this year to come up with $9 to $10 grand from the fire fund, or from the fire department, or from the city, wherever it's going to come from, to help supplement that plan each year, so it wouldn't be insolvent. So we contacted Lockheed, find out if they would be. Because if we could consolidate with Lockheed, we wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. So Lockheed came and after they did went through the actuarial that they paid for, or we paid for, came back and said, yes, you've got a good plan that we can actually do this, and it's going to be less cost to you than that amount of money. And so I think everyone here has a copy of the proposed amortization, 15 to 25 years, that our finance director has put together for us. And we are currently paying out $2,600 a month, or I'm sorry, a year in fees to Charles Schwab and Concert. And so that fee will vanish, and the board actually voted to do this. And the reason being is, in the past, they always thought that Lockheed was going to change their pension plan. This is the old firefighters, the ones, everyone before 1993 is on the old plan. There's only 12 left. And so they had always been told that if they went with the new plan, they would lose Well, that wasn't necessarily correct. So I had the director of Lockheed come up and meet with us, and he said, no, nothing will change. You're just basically giving administration, taking away all your administration from the city of Greenwood, giving it to Lockheed, just like the current police and fire have. And he said, but, you'll have to put all your money that's in your plan into Lockheed, and still you'll have to pay within so much. Basically, we'll look at the amortization table. We need to do the 15 or 25-year amortization for how much we need to pay into it. Now, when they get down to 5 members, it's mandatory by state law that we go to Lockheed. So we're kind of getting them off the pass on this. I didn't want to have to come up with $9 to $10 grand a year out of the budget to supplement an old plan when we weren't going to see anything out of it. When we could go with the 15-year or 25-year amortization and pay less. Now with the 3% COLA built in, which they have never received, and they've been asking for since 2000. And that's Mr. Palmer, he's been after that at AC. Him and GK Ware have been asking for a COLA for a long time. That would actually be built into this, either 15 or 20 year, and our finance director has really put together a nice.
Chief, can I interrupt you just real quick on that? So the people like Paul Rush, for instance, that are on Lockheed right now,
Yeah.
do they get it? Huh?
I don't think he's not on that plan.
Paul's
Not
not
on the old plan.
Right.
I know, but
saying
he's
it's a
on,
lot now.
I'm saying the new plan. Paul's the first one that we had retired.
Okay.
Paul Rush, the first one that had
I don't
retired.
think this at all, this has nothing to do with it, totally.
Well, it does, because I've got a question. Does he get a 3% COLA increase every year on the current Lockheed plan?
They get, yeah, I believe they do, our current lobby has changes over time, and I don't know if you guys have seen, or he hasn't seen them as much, but they get changes over time. So this is not something that's uncommon.
And we have police officers that are on our Lockheed. Do they get 3% COLA?
Yeah, I mean,
So we're just asking.
it's
that-
built in.
So you're just asking that these old retired firefighters on the city's plan
Yeah.
get treated the same?
Exactly. And it's gonna cost us some money, and to do that, to go in addition to, there are about 180,000 that they've already got in their plan right now. This is what will be left. If we went with the 15-year amortization, basically our total commitment to that would be 140,000. If we went with the 25-year amortization, it would be 201,000. And he's shown here,
I'm going to make a change to that one. The 25-year is 65,000, so the 8,000 for 25-year versus the average cost with the plan less than 65,000 would be 54. But on the 15-year, it's only 39,000 because you're going to cut it off after your 15th year. So that 5,065 would actually be 67,9892. So you're looking at still $6,700 versus putting in $10,000 that you were going to have to do to the old plan just to fund it. And after 15 years, you're fully funded to that plan.
we would be done, and it'd be out of our hands, it'd be in Lockheed's hands, and then they would receive COLAs in the future, just like the rest of the members of Lockheed.
Now, there are some assumptions that are written down at the bottom that Lockheed put in there, and that is that your inflation factor is 2.75% per year, and then the assumed 7.75 annual rate of return. That's the benchmark they're basing their whole premise on what the amounts are going to be as far as the 15 and 25-year amortization is. Now, it also takes over the $180,000 that's currently in the old plan, they assume. So these numbers are built in to the fact that they're already gaining that Schwab investment amount of $180,000.
So right, that was my next question. So right now, there's 187,000 and change in the current local plan.
Correct.
We're paying fees to Charles Schwab to administrate that plan and distribute it annually to our 12 grandfathered in retired firefighters.
Correct.
And what we're going to do is transfer all that money out of whatever Schwab account it's in over to Lockheed. They'll manage that accordingly through whatever investment schedules they have set up with the other Lockheed funds, and then they'll be responsible for paying back to the retired firefighters according to this schedule.
Your obligation is the amounts that are there annually for the 15-year period. The recommendation is that because of the negligible difference in the 15 to 25 year over time, that you go with the 15-year.
Yeah, so once we get to the 15-year mark, if Mr. Palmer happens to live to be 122, God willing, then they'll be on the hook to keep paying Mr. Palmer for however long without any more contribution to us.
That's correct.
And his wife.
That's
When he-
correct.
when he does, at 122 when he dies. His
Yeah,
wife lives at 124.
Exactly.
They got 2 more years. And that's,
The old plan's actually a little better than our current plan. Our current plan, our spouses only get up to 10 years. The old plan, they get a lot.
Make a motion to adopt this ordinance, transfer administration retirement coverage for eligible people over the law.
Okay.
Which one, 15 or 25?
Out of the 15,
We have a motion second to pass ordinance.
we don't have to read first reading or title
First
only.
reading title only.
There's no emergency clause in this.
Oh, yes, we have to have purchase.
I don't think there is one.
Yeah, because of your deadline.
Your deadline is
Our
October.
deadlines, October, we have to go through and pay for it, all be redone.
Yep.
We add an
It
emergency.
says emergency is hereby declared to exist, in section 4, but Mike, does it have to say that in the title? Well, it says it in section 4.
I make a motion that we waive second and third reading.
Oh, we hadn't voted on.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah, I don't think.
No. The motion second.
Did you say?
One's 15,
No,
one's
one-
25, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, one says 15, and one says 25.
Way down.
I'm voting for the 15 now.
In section 2,
Yeah.
Mr. Brown?
yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
An ordinance transferring administration of retirement coverage for eligible members of the Greenwood Fire Pension Relief Fund to the Arkansas Local Police and Fire Retirement System, OPFI, and authorizing the chief administrative officer to enter into a revocable agreement with OPFI.
Or do we,
You need to
okay.
keep going and do
Make a
it.
motion, we suspend the rules and waive second and third reading of this ordinance.
Second it.
Motion is second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion, we adopt it.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Yes.
Make a motion, we enact the emergency clause of this ordinance.
Second.
Motion is second to enact emergency clause.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen. Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate Tom giving us such a good breakdown. Thank you very much.
Resolution, where are we at, number 3? Resolution appointing finance director as co-trustee to employee pension plan, which is kind of self-explanatory, I think,
Standard.
standard. Yeah. We got Tom, we might as well use him, right?
I make a motion we adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion is second to adopt.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry? Yes.
Street Department, Mr. Wiley.
Number 5, budget resolution and increased capital expenditures. That's from is a hammer attachment that we did a resolution in December for, and it get billed for January to February. So it's just to zero out the balance in capital expenditures for this year.
Questions?
No, Brennan, I mean, you bought it, and we need to get a bill in January.
Correct.
So, do we have paid it?
Yeah, we paid it. We paid it in just in
Oh, you just got
January.
to move the money.
Right.
I make a motion, we.
So it's something we did really in 2016,
Yeah.
well, 2016 budget.
Right.
I make a motion with the resolution.
Second.
Motion is second to approve.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Thank you. Me and Mr. Wiley.
All right, number 5 is ordinance amending ordinance. don't have it, I don't have any revised ordinance at this time, but what this is regarding is installation of culverts for driveways. Right now, the way the ordinance reads is that the property owner shall pay the city for the culvert itself, but they don't have to pay for any backfilling material. And so it ends up costing quite a bit of money when you're talking about slated pipe bedding and backfilling because of the launch of the pipe. So what I'm proposing is having people that want to put a driveway in purchase a permit, and we'll go out and make sure that the driveway will work where they want it to go, size the pipe, and then inspect the pipe as their contractor installs it. Takes the liability away from us. We have a lot of areas where culverts are failing because of various reasons, and it's costing the city a lot of money to fix existing culverts that should probably fall back on property owners.
So we can put this on for first reading by title only?
No, so we'll just
He
discuss.
actually doesn't have it prepared yet.
I thought I looked at it.
This, you're looking at the old
I got you, I'm
ordinance.
sorry.
Yeah.
This is our old
Yeah.
ordinance.
We don't really have it prepared, it's just, we had put it on the agenda that I think we might at some point, or we will, but it really just.
So this is our current code.
That's correct.
You just wanted to make it more beefed up.
Right.
Yeah, where they purchase permit for $25, we'll inspect the culvert installation, materials, and the installation will still be in accordance with the RDOT standard drawings, which are included in your file.
Are you just wanting to amend the current ordinance? We need to make a.
That's correct.
separate ordinance?
I think just amending the current ordinance would be all right.
What are you saying, Mike? Do we need to amend it, or can we?
What I was gonna do is I was gonna repeal this one and just put in the total new one with the attachments to it.
Okay.
We didn't take any action tonight.
No, I think he was just gonna.
Do you guys have any
No, it's.
comments, concerns,
That's a
anything?
good idea.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I do. You're talking about new home construction.
No, sir. This is the old neighborhoods. We're putting in a culvert this week on Houston. It's an old house, probably built in the early 1900s. The driveway that was for the house actually belonged to the neighbors, and I guess they had a little dispute when they were cut off. So now we have to put a pipe in for an existing.
And the way the law reads right now, the city is in charge of, responsible to put that.
We're responsible for all the backfill material. You know, when we install a culvert, that could be $500 of material. You know, by the time you buy it, get it hauled here, and all the property owners liable for, responsible for is essentially the purchase of the culvert itself.
That's the way the ordinance reads right now. The city is required to put in a culvert for a house.
That's correct.
That makes no sense.
And it could be a failing culvert, I mean, yeah, this.
That's where I was going with
Yes.
it. He acted like in the contract, he said, so doing it in the contract, getting a permit, making the contractor pay for it as they're dealing with
Well,
property.
Well, even, I'm sorry I interrupted, but I think what you're saying too, the goal is to do it on new construction or existing, contractor being the contractor doing the dirt work, not building a house necessarily, but contractor.
The homeowner contracts to install that culvert.
Yeah.
The city's not responsible for installing the culvert. It says that they are responsible, but if they need help, this is what we do.
But you gotta look at that, read that one line and then look later.
Section 3C
Right.
states that the property owner is responsible.
The size of the culvert.
Installing
Installing
proper
the
size.
proper size. So you can take that, but it also says in here that we're gonna put it in if they buy it. I mean, it's just, it's a,
Some of this would be my suggestion,
yes.
is to sit down and go through this, they can bring us one back that you think that you want to, you know what I'm saying, and then we'll work from there, we'll have a good discussion about it, because I mean, we said read this all night long. That's what, that'd be my suggestion, I mean, let him, you put one together and bring it back, and we'll sit down and, you know.
I just wanted to just kind of bring it up, make sure we didn't.
Then what you might do is what you know, write it down, we need to get a copy of it, just highlight the,
I have one here.
Mine's passing it out 30 seconds.
Right. So you got my notes on this one, with the changes.
I mean, you know where you want to go, Dean, so just, put one together and bring it back, and we'll hash it out.
Yeah.
Get it the way you want it.
Yeah, if you see stuff like that that you think we need to do, we want you to
We
bring
can
that
discuss it. We don't think it's worth
See you
it.
guys time.
Right. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did y'all settle that while I was in the side?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Parks Department. Richard selling trucks that he's not supposed to.
That's all right. We had a little issue at our auction the other day. The Parks Department inherited a truck from Street Department in 2010. It was a wore-out truck then. We had kept it as kind of a backup when we needed a vehicle. We had parked back here by the fence and weren't advised that we needed to get out of there prior to the auction, so it got picked up in the auction and sold for $300. Value was probably $300. So I guess we've got a discrepancy in that we actually sold something that wasn't on our advertising list. So that's where I need that clarification. We can, the mayor's already gone back to the purchase that, or the person that made that purchase. He's willing to abide by whatever y'all decide, if you can keep the vehicle or he'll get a refund on his money.
You want to truck back?
Yeah.
I make a motion, we move right on.
I'll second it.
Motion second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Same with me. Same with auction.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
You just go to the lot, grab the card, and auction them off?
Whatever doesn't move gets auctioned.
What kind of,
It's the same as they always do. We ask everybody bring everything that you want, and then they don't. It doesn't make the list, and then they start dragging stuff up.
No, that's not what this was.
That's not what happened here.
We
This
did not
was-
bring a vehicle up, we just had one parked
happened to
over
be
there.
parked in the wrong
Oh,
spot.
happened to be
Yes,
parked.
we
Yeah,
did.
in other words,
been back there for the wrong?
if your truck back would have been back there, we'd have auctioned it.
That's correct. Yeah, we did not try to slip the vehicle in. Want everybody to be
Was
real.
it that half ton?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's a pickup, old Ford pickup.
I just assumed the auctioneer had a list of vehicles.
He does.
VIN numbers. and-
They get talking fast and flying right down the line and scrap our
And
vehicle.
I asked him very specifically because we had other items brought in, and you may have heard of other items that we finally, I said, no, we're gonna have to wait on these other items because you haven't approved those items as council. And so I went to Mr.
Auctioneer.
Auctioneer and asked him very specifically, please do not auction anything that is not on your list. And I guess he just got caught up. I'm glad I didn't park, well, he could have auctioned mine, but I've been glad.
So, we didn't want anybody to think we were slipping.
No, I just wanted to know.
But they,
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
And now that you're back present again, Dr. Johnson,
What am I voting on?
the sale of the vehicle.
Yeah. the one
Wait,
that's-
wait,
yeah, I already-
It's unanimous.
Yes.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Richard.
So the back home?
Paper?
I don't think
Paper?
they did sell paper, they did sell great all, great all.
Fence is gone.
Fence, yeah. Add on to the fire department, that went. Number 7, personnel policy handbook. I know that's not what you have listed, but that is the, trying to find it.
Yeah, the highlighted piece of paper is the existing verbiage, and the bold and resolution will be what changed to.
So highlighted piece of paper.
It looks like this,
Yellow highlight.
it's put behind the resolution in the packet.
Pre-approved.
So if you have so if an employee had surgery the day before a holiday, he will not be paid.
That's that's what it currently is.
Is now.
It just says absence.
I was kind of sorry.
I know, because if it's already worked out with your supervisor, why?
I mean, if you're going to, have some work done and you kind of want to have the holiday to recover,
Yeah, currently it's just vacation, it would be the only reason you're out.
So we're changing it to say employees who are absent from that month, other than pre-approved absence.
Right,
As
and it
opposed to
doesn't say
approved
vacation.
vacation.
Okay.
I make a motion, we pass it.
Second.
We have a motion and second?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry?
Yes.
Okay, I believe number 8 is police, right?
That's the same thing, right?
Wait,
That's vacation accumulation.
it's a little different.
Did you get a copy?
There seems like there's math involved in this one, Chief. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Basically.
There's decimal points and all sorts of things in there.
See, thank you, Chief.
Mike has the donation number. What do you have? Donation? Yes, that's what she has. Number 8 should be the donation.
Well, no. Is it? Okay.
That's what she has.
Yeah,
Donations, when all six-time policy.
Okay, so
Good.
donation,
Donation.
basically the donation is the money we receive while raising money for the new canine. Should be 5,000.
Okay, so that's this K-9 resolution?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve this resolution, the increase K-9 unit expenses. Second, please, Father.
And the first one first. We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry? Unanimous.
Did you ever talk about that, when you, they arrested you?
It was good, it was good.
Now you're up with the policy.
The finance director, they follow along.
Oh, yeah. He's ahead
For the
of
second one?
Yes, sir.
It's the
Oh,
holiday.
holiday pay.
Okay.
The holiday.
The second one,
I said holiday too. Yes.
sick pay.
Sick and
Sick and
vacation.
vacation.
Well, the second one we match, we try to do is match the city. The city pays employees if they leave part of their sick time. Well, Mike doesn't agree with what I think the statute reads, and Charlotte doesn't either. And neither does municipal league, so that, I guess that's what matters in the end, is what they believe. And fire and police can't get part of their sick time when they leave, but regular employees can, because of the way the verbiage is in the law, is how they're interpreting that. So we need to change it for now, unless we get the law changed, back to where when they leave, they don't get any sick time paid, unless they retire, officially retire.
When it says they die,
Retired.
do they have a benefactor name to all of our
Yes.
officers? Benefactor, and then we go to benefactor. So this is we're going to this language, which is consistent with the municipal league's interpretation of the current law.
Yes.
This is the same issue that we've got brought up for on the audit a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So, I don't like the law, but unfortunately, the auditors taught the lesson. So
I think whoever came up with that law, I don't think was trying to give police or fire less.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what they intended, but that's the way it's interpreted
It sounds
by,
like the kind of thing that needs to be amended at some point.
yes. Hopefully somebody can do that.
Yeah.
We just do some middle.
I make a motion to approve this resolution. Assuming Mike.
Yeah, that, no, I have no problem with it.
Second.
Motion and a second. Dr. Lee.
And I understand that vacation time is also overshadowed. No, that's not what that is. It's just that, it's to clarify that vacation accrual begins upon the first day of employment with them. Because there's some discrepancy. But they get 120 hours of vacation time, sorry, when they first start. That's different than a non-employee. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry?
Thank you. Number 10 is the fire department, I believe, yes. So I can't keep my numbers straight here.
Well, I thought I remember that.
I have something down.
Yeah, that was, he did 8 and 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fire department, finance,
Basically a housekeeping thing.
yes. Mr. Marsh?
What we have is a, original resolution, we did not, it addressed a specific amount that you had approved for them for a loan for $300,000 in addition to the cash payment. Unfortunately, when we went down and signed on the loan papers, they had a loan origination fee of $1,500, and we felt like to cover the fact that our loan is more than what your original resolution said. We want to cover it with this resolution, giving us the ability to move $1,500 into capital improvements projects for fire using the city sales and use tax fire fund to cover the $1,500 origination fee, which is now in the active loan.
So we're using city sales and use tax to approve the origination fee of the loan?
You only approved a $300,000.
Right, I'm saying, I'm just asking, the 1,500 comes from city sales and use tax?
That's where the original loan is.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that we're moving 1,500 over to pay for the, wait, did we already pay for the origination of the loan fee, I guess? We're
It's just
trying to-
figured in
It's
with the loan.
loan
figured in,
itself.
yeah.
We're financing it.
We're
I
clarifying.
understand that, I guess what I'm asking is that there was at one point, there was an issue with using city sales and use tax to pay interest on a loan.
That's been
Not
resolved.
That's-
This
This is a closing
is
cost.
origination fee, that's okay, we're okay with that.
It's a closing cost.
Make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second. Have a motion second to approve?
Brown.
Yes.
Dr. Johnson.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Tim Terry.
Yes.
Terry. Yes.
Thank you. Tom? Number 11 is Mr. Niles. She get a bonus for staying to the old meeting.
Basically, what I come here before you today, and I appreciate your time, is want to apply or reapply for a private club license. I don't mean your conventional private club bar, but a restaurant that is able to sell beer and mixed drinks. I've been had mixed emotions about applying for it myself. I'm not a drinker. I have Judeo-Christian values. I believe Ephesians 5 tells us not to get drunk in excess, but I don't believe a beer or mixed drinks send me to hell. So that being said, after talking to people within the community, talking to different people, I believe not only is it, a lot of people drink a beer with the ball game, but also this would increase the infrastructure within our town from the taxes, from the alcohol sales. So I want you to know my whole heart in this. It's not just from a profit standpoint, it's from a standpoint of building the future of our town. Most of us in here are over the age of 40. We're building the future for our kids and our grandkids, and not just so much for us. We need more money here. I think I hear things like third fire station, this hotel, two-banger movie theater, go-karts, all that kind of stuff. I'm an avid visionary. I see that coming. I think we all see our city growing more than what it is. Big places, or excuse me, big businesses like Chili's, stuff like that, will never come here without being able to sell alcohol. That's just the facts. So that's pretty much what I'm asking, is for an ordinance to be approved for me to apply for the private club license. And even if y'all approve the ordinance from my business to be able to apply for it, it doesn't necessarily mean that ABC is going to approve it. They still have the right to deny it.
And I'll follow that up with a conversation we called, in fact, Mr. Niles was in my office today, and he called the ABC board and kind of verified that, and then later on, not because I didn't already know it, but while in Ms. Derry's office, we also made the same call and happened to have to get the same attorney on the phone, Mr. Michael Harry, who says hi to Mr. Hamby, who is from Greenwood originally. And what I put in your packet is exactly, this came from him this afternoon, and kind of as black and white as it gets, tells you what you would be voting on in this ordinance to, like you said, not to approve this, but to allow you to apply, period. And then there's other things that will happen after. I mean, this, in fact, Mr. Harry used the phrase, this is the very first stage of applying or applying for, trying to get an application, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. I believe that Greenwood is in a position to set the standard. Nobody has applied for this to my knowledge.
That's correct.
And so we have the ability to set the standard of how this goes. I personally, as a business owner, very responsible, own multiple businesses. I want to have a limit to how much you can drink. I don't want you coming into my business getting drunk. Within my business, there's no conventional bar. I mean, you're not going to just walk in and see a guy sitting at the bar watching the ball game. It's restaurant seating with the availability of ordering a beer or mixed drink. There will be no hard liquor sales.
Just basically, I believe the drink's called a mimosa, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound pretty good?
I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay. So it's mixed drinks, but I want to have a limit. My kids live here. I don't want drunks driving down the road, folks, even though they do. They come from Beef O'Brady's, they come from Fort Smith, they come from everywhere. Our money's going everywhere but here as far as that kind of sales. I want to invest my money in my own community, and I'm sure the people that do drink a beer with their ball game want to invest their money in their own community. I'm not sure statistically what it is, but how many DUIs do you do a month, arrest? Yeah. 5 or so. Let's limit those as much as possible. You know, I don't want drunks here. I hope you understand that. I don't want this to be bad for our community. I want it to be good for our community. That's correct.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I'm going to jump on the bandwagon here. It's facts. It's bottom line, it's facts. Society's changed today. In order to get on the bandwagon around here, to get anything that's worth any common sense, we're going to have to accept the fact Greenwood ain't the little bed and breakfast community anymore if we're going to go forward. I mean, it's bottom line is, period. I drink beer, I'll be the first to tell you, I spend a ton of money at the liquor store sometimes, and I'm not going to lie about it. All my tax money's going right up there. But we've got this little painted picture down here that everybody's scared to death of. Scared to death of, afraid that it's going to bring all this trash in any worse than Fort Smith. That's why Fort Smith has the revenue and the business they got, because they never had alcohol sales. And we're never going to get there unless we do it. So, it's just facts. And I know a lot of people don't want to admit it, but it's going to have to happen eventually, because whether I'm here or dead and gone, it's going to come. There's going to come a point in time where all these people that said, "Oh, my dead body will ever be here," they're going to be gone, and then it's going to be here. I may never see it in my lifetime, but if I have the opportunity to vote on an ordinance that gives him an opportunity to get the ball started, I'm going to vote on it.
My question is, and this is a question to Sonny and maybe Mike, is I really don't necessarily have a problem. I'm not quite against this and I'm not quite for it. I want the ability to zone it, because I don't feel like, I don't know if by passing something it opens us up to the fact where this could happen anywhere, but I don't feel like next door, I don't feel like Daniel McDaniel's turning this place into a sports bar right next to First Baptist Church is the right place. I don't feel like being across from Greenwood High School is currently the right place.
Rod,
They regulate our zoning?
Rod, there's very few places in Greenwood that you could sell alcohol. If you stop and think about where our churches are located, of course, they're not going to be up here on Main Street, but we've got churches dotted all the way down Center Street. So the ability to, sell alcohol in any area is going to be very little. The area that he's talking about, there is a foot, you can only build so close to a church, or a school or whatever. And I certainly don't know what the specifications of his building as opposed to the Church of Christ over there, but so zoning it, it would be zoned in commercial, but 90% of that commercial is not available for us. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Like the flash market there, they couldn't sell beer because Baptist Church across the street, the Shell Stadium here can't do it. We've got a church across the street. When you think about that all the way down, and that leaves very little that's left that's, by state law, that you could sell alcohol of any kind, whether it's a private club or whether it's a Chili's or whatever.
In most instances in the state law, we can't take away from it, but we can increase it. So could I take ABC's regulations and increase that zoning to other places that we wanted to kind of push that business?
I would think so. That's the question for Mike. You certainly couldn't say, well, the state law says 300 foot from property line to property line, and we could say 200 foot. I don't think we could do that.
I think once the state has spoken, I think you're pretty much bound to what their regulations are.
But couldn't we make that more restrictive?
Yeah, you couldn't make it more restrictive.
Okay, so that was
Could
right.
make it more or less.
I would be hard pressed to say you could make it less restrictive.
So what I really need to do is figure out where the ABC allows these things to happen.
It's 300 feet from the church.
Is it property line or door? That's always better.
It's 300 feet within the church for alcohol sales as in a liquor store.
What about a school?
Yep, right.
Same thing.
But you're,
That does not regulate a restaurant, which that land.
so what you're applying for, or attempting to apply for, is not the same, certainly not the same as a liquor store, correct? As a private club.
Correct. And folks, I gotta be honest with you, no offense to your bigger I don't want a liquor store.
Okay.
But there's no regulation on restaurants where it's being.
And I understand that we're a faith-driven town. I'm faith-driven. I'm nothing without God. That's the facts, guy. And the church, we have churches around every corner, and hopefully we have more. But that being said, the reason I'm here is not is to talk about the infrastructure of our city. I understand that you want to speak about the safety and where they should be and where they shouldn't be, and I wholeheartedly understand that. I believe that we're going big places, and I don't mean the Fort Smith big places, but I believe that we can have a movie theater. I believe the vision for this business is to be more than just in a shopping center. I believe that it's to be 4,000 square foot. I believe it's to have video games for our kids. I reinvest every dollar I make. I live in an $87,000 house, but I make lots of money every year. I just reinvest.
So Mike and Sonny, so from what y'all are telling me, I cannot pass an ordinance saying that a restaurant serving alcohol could not be right across the street from Greenwood High School or an elementary school.
That's already in the ABC law.
He's saying it's not.
300 feet.
It can be across the street from high schools. I mean, that's just knowledge. I mean,
300 feet's not
residential.
300 feet's not very far.
Rod,
It's not.
years ago when I lived in Little Rock, for example, I don't know if you know where Shorty Smalls is on
Yes.
Rodney Fairman.
Yeah.
There's a church right across the street. Shorty Smalls wanted to sell alcohol, but the state law at that time said 300 foot door to door, I believe is what it was. So Shorty Smalls moved their front entrance from this side of the building to that side of the building, got a liquor license. They've been selling beer ever since.
That's why I always got so goofy.
That's
I never knew why it looked so goofy.
well, that's why I say, anybody that's been to Shorty Smalls, they wonder, well, why do I go around here? But that's the reason why. They had to increase the space there between them and the doors of the church. Now, whether or not that's still the same law, I don't know. You know, I haven't dealt with that in years.
And I understand that they have their law, but you and Mike are saying, as a city alderman, I do not have the right to put forward something more in excess and increase that 300 to 400.
That's a Mike question.
Yeah,
Like I said.
I think that's correct.
I would say as an alderman, he might have a right to make a zone entertainment district or some sort where plats wouldn't be approved unless restaurants or Dave and Buster's, Shorty Smalls, TGI Fridays was in an area, say, along the 71 corridor or something. I can see where that could be an ordinance to something the council could do, but as far as where he can put his as a boat distance from the school or church, that's already.
I think that's a done deal. I don't think, you couldn't do that next to a school or a church. But then, again, that's a ABC question and a Mike question.
Mike's going to look into it.
We don't have an ordinance in front of us today to vote on, is that correct?
We don't have the application or the ordinance.
Well, actually, we do have the application. He provided it with me this afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So, no, that's okay. I called after I got off the phone with the attorney in Little Rock, Mr. Harry. I called Mr. Niles, thank you, in trouble. And he provided me with his application.
Well, one thing I guess I would like to see here, I mean, it says, from Mr. Harry's document here, it says private club, and I hear talk of, restaurants, that they have different rules and stuff. And I would like to say that we're addressing, either private, club/restaurant or make it specified. To me, well, club versus restaurant has a whole different connotation.
Well, it's a private club within the restaurant. And this application refers to the food,
Right, exactly. Basically, you have to sell a certain amount of food and a certain amount of alcohol, and you can't sell more.
not just a club.
Yeah, and it's just, that's how lawmakers, that's how they made it. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me. I said, listen, guy, I'm not trying to open a bar here, just trying to open a restaurant. And the city attorney was the guy from Greenwood. That's just how they did it.
I think the private club part comes in because, and I may be wrong, but because I had no idea about this at all, everybody, correct? Is that if you get this permit, if you were to be licensed, you would then need to charge or have to charge a minimum, like whatever fee you came up with as a member to come in. So you are a member of that.
I don't think it has anything to do with charge.
Well,
I'm from
or signing in.
For me, originally, if you told me that they were gonna have restaurants that served alcohol, I would say, crazy.
Right.
They've got two. And both of them, when you go in, if you're gonna have a drink, you just sign up.
You sign.
You sign up.
And that's
Whether
cheap.
it's dry community or not.
Right.
If you're in a dry community, you have to have a club. you have to be a
That's right.
registered
You don't have to pay
participant.
anything.
So just be a part of it.
And
That's a good
Mr.
noise.
I hang out with Tim versus,
Oh, okay.
Just to clarify, one thing he did say earlier, Mr. Niles, I know that the country club here in Greenwood has applied twice for a private club license, was denied like 91 and 05.
You applied with the ABC or?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I think law back then
You had
required
access to apply.
that you had to have the city council approval. I remember at least one occasion that you could get the city council approval.
That may have been the first time. I know the second time it went down to the ABC board, and it was denied, 0 to 5.
I know over at Hackett, maybe we're real close to having a restaurant over there that served, but one of the petitioners had some background issues, and that's the only reason it didn't go through.
Well, the reason I say that is you're asking for an ordinance for him to at least go apply. And I'm just wondering how they applied at the country club twice already, if it wasn't, maybe you didn't need an ordinance back then.
This law, if I'm not mistaken, was just passed in August.
Yeah, that's right.
He would have not been coming to you
Right.
if he had gone through the process.
Because at one time, they eliminated the cities altogether.
Right.
And I wasn't aware that they added them back in again, because that's how MENA got theirs, because they would have never been approved.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it wasn't for construction issues, I wouldn't be sitting here today, but unfortunately, it is what it is. And I'm actually, I gotta be honest with you, I'm sort of glad it worked this way. I want everybody to know what's going on. You know, I don't want to just go, bam, here it is. I mean, I'm glad everybody knows. But to my understanding, Mr. Henry, basically the ordinance would state that, hey, we, you know, grant Josh Miles, Game Day Sports Grill, to be able to apply with ABC.
Yeah, it's my understanding that you would be the guinea pig, you'd be the first one. to do the
Absolutely,
law.
and I don't mind being guinea pig. And I don't mind taking a habit, guys, I don't mind taking all the drama from whoever the city wants to give it. I would ask that y'all would vote on that tonight, so making that an ordinance, even if the ordinance is not made tonight. I would surely much appreciate it. My business wants to open November 1st, so the likes of actually physically having that license approved by then is slim to none, but I would like to have it open within 30, 45 days after that, just because it would increase sales at the restaurant.
Yeah. But I'd want to have an ordinance in front of me that I could read and know what I was looking at, and then if to do what you're saying, we'd have to put it on an emergency clause, and we have to have some pretty legitimate reasons for pushing it through emergently from the city standpoint. The ordinance has to be on for first, second, third reading by title only before we can pass it, unless we make some exception to our rules. I don't mind voting on the ordinance, but I'd have to have an ordinance that we can look at.
And Dr. Ross, I totally understand that.
I think the other thing is, just asking
That's
Mayor,
only one I've got.
this does not appear to be filled out.
No, that's basically, when I filled the other one out, I took a copy of everything I do business with. I took a copy of that, they got my other one, that one can't get approved because here, bam, we're after August, so that's the extra one I had. He called me, says, hey, you got a copy of it, bam, here it is. Basically, it's all my personal information. If they search through my background, if there's anything in my background, bam,
So
denied.
your filled out application is at the ABC board.
Right, and it's worthless right now.
We have to have a
You're
copy of
you're
it.
starting over.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think we would have to have a complete
It's what it
copy.
says in there.
Yeah, that's the way I read the law.
And he said, Michael Berry said it has to accompany the ordinance.
Okay,
Right.
And it looks like an annual permit fee, if you're approved, is $1,500 a year just to have that license.
Right, yeah. Well, I guess too, I mean, is each time, do we have to do an ordinance on each business, or can you have just say an ordinance that is,
Each business.
Each
Each
applicant.
umbrella?
Each application.
anybody else came for another one, I mean, there might be another ordinance. Yep.
Each application, you're just approving the application.
Yeah,
of.
you're approving him to be able to apply.
That's all it is, they said.
I just wanted the opportunity to be invested, the money that I make there, to be invested more in Greenwood. I invest a lot in my community. I mean, most of y'all probably don't even know me. But when it comes to like someone needs something, I'm there.
Well, I agree with Dr. Lee. I'd like to just really, see the ordinance in front of me. And really, I know, like I said, I hear you're saying you'd like to have something going by November, but I really like to see it going through the process of having three readings.
Or at least just something on paper, we can waive the second and third readings if we had something on paper, it wouldn't be, we just did that about 3 times tonight. But I'm just saying, I agree with you, it'd be nice to have something right and to go over. I mean, I personally don't care how much glance on this deal, I just think they get the process started.
We could go down.
It's out of our hands,
Because
what happens, I mean,
right.
Whatever we say yea or nay is out of our hands, because the ABC board is going to the final say, we're not approving anything, just give them a chance to go. It's odd to me that this law is even passed by the state, but I guess it's cool, at least we get something, do something without a commission having got us.
And this law actually applies to wet areas also. I mean, like you can't even get a private club license within a wet area without getting the same approval. I do understand the fact that, you want something in writing, but like stated earlier, pretty much what it's going to say is Josh Miles, game day sports drill.
Well, I mean, and I'm not trying to continue with that, I
Oh,
really
you're
not.
right.
But it would be a little unprecedented for us to not to, you haven't been to enough meetings to know, but if this were some totally different issue, it would be pretty unprecedented for us to pass an ordinance without having something in front of us. We just don't hardly do that. I mean, not even for any of the stuff we do. I mean, this particular issue, it could be anything, but as a habit in 8 years or plus that I've been up here, I can't remember hardly any times where we've passed an ordinance without having something in front of us. A resolution occasionally, but an ordinance is different.
What, and I apologize, I'm not trying to take your time, but what exactly entails a type of ordinance?
I'll prepare it.
It's something that
Like
you
15, 20 minutes or?
What he's gonna need from you, if it is to fill that
I have
application.
to have the filled out application. The law says that I have to have the application.
Yes, sir.
For the ordinance. And so we'll have to have that, and then I'll prepare the ordinance. It'll take me probably maybe 10 minutes to prepare the ordinance. And then we'll have to present it back to these guys. Now, they're talking about 3 readings and possibly waiving them. What they're talking about there is you could possibly, if they waive the readings, have it in place in October, make your November deadline.
It's about 45, 60 day process, but I understand, and I totally understand your policy and procedures. I sit on the board of repossession agents, the whole United States, so I get it.
This would be a decision that we're kind of screwing forward one way or the other. And to press it through without, and make exceptions for what would be our typical practice feels wrong.
I understand.
I have a feeling the ordinance would be well received, but I think we need some.
Proper steps, I totally understand.
Especially when.
Yes, sir.
But I don't see why you can't have that in the next.
I'll talk to Mr. Harry this week and have it ready this week.
All right, I'll get you the application back this week if I can get that. You need a copy of that, that's fine.
I need a completed copy. Whatever you turn in to Mr. Harry may be able to provide me with that tomorrow.
Okay, I cannot turn that copy in until, I have to turn that copy in with your ordinance.
You need to fill it out versus what they're saying.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like that goes with your ordinance.
Oh, okay, I thought you said you already filled that out and turned it into ABC.
Yeah, the application's dead.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, I have to reapply.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I need you to fill that out, get that to me.
You start right out?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So I guess, what is the time frame with the ABC? You're saying there's a time limit?
Well, they have to, like, yeah, because I have to go sit at a meeting in Little Rock and I guess learn about alcohol sales and then, they have to meet on it. Honestly, folks, being October 1st, I mean, it could be 90, 120 days, and I get it.
Yeah, because you have to post it too for.
Yeah, the newspaper and all that kind of good stuff.
And that's.
I'm gonna take all that flack, because it's gonna go in the newspaper.
Well, that's why I said, I don't want you to be not cognizant of the fact that it could take, even with the council there, it could take 3 months.
Oh, absolutely,
So if
and
that's
I
gonna mess up their schedule with the ABC, then, I didn't want them to.
Well, ABC can't take any action until we take action.
Right, absolutely, yeah, I can't do nothing without until y'all say, hey, here's your blessing. Yeah, there's no stress for the business, I mean, we're gonna have great food, so this is just, I guess you'd say, just a little cherry on top of the cake. So, thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, thanks.
Appreciate it. Number 12, remote access policy. Which is somewhere. Is that just a resolution? Probably so. Sorry, I'm looking at policy. Y'all have it in your packet?
Yep.
Here we go. Yep.
Do we have somebody that we could say we're having out the proper firewalls and stuff, so we don't have, illicit access or?
DCR, yeah, they already actually revamped this policy, the owner of DCR, Denise.
Denise Harris, yes. This is her policy, I guess, or her.
It was our policy, but they went through it, they're experts, and they're the ones that handle all of our security, all of our IT. And this is something also that the mayor said that told the auditors he would put before y'all for adoption.
Right.
Because they want us to have it.
And so, does any city employee have access, have ability to have remote access?
Not at this time.
We have remote access at the school.
Well, yeah, I guess, actually, the water, wastewater, and, right?
Fire
And the
department.
fire department does,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's.
Maybe the street.
Do they?
But this is for like a worker outside of the satellites.
And I will say, and it's not specifically about Mr. Marsh, but for instance, in situations recently, he has been with his wife, as he should be, in Little Rock, and there have been times when it would have been convenient, to say the least, that he could have done, because he traveled back and forth from North and this is not, certainly, I hope everyone, this is not a take lightly thing for me at all. I mean, I don't want to just pass out remote access to anybody, and it's important that we do have those protection, and that's where we got Denise to Harris for PCR to make this, I guess, to their standards.
Yeah, the mayor's office is the one that grants each of these.
But, I mean, do the fire departments have remote access for?
We have no hardwire unless you want to take something.
Yeah.
Right, I'm saying, so something just right next door, we've had remote access, because we have no hardwire connection.
Yeah.
But this is for access through a non-city of Greenwood controlled network. And that's a city of Greenwood controlled network.
So the fire department is considered a controlled network.
Yeah, because they're on ours here.
Good if they ever wanted to use our program, skill in for do on the tablet, then we probably could have that this. Because that's not a city system, I believe, I think we're going through.
The example of the finance director being out of town is a great example of why. So you're saying basically just on his smartphone, if he needed to get in there and somebody questioned about it, he can go in and find something to fund while he's off. That's what this is about, I guess, basically.
Yes. I mean, Charlotte, you have a different opinion on it, I mean, that's.
Well, you can monitor like center point from where he is, but not necessarily like do any transactions of
Right.
transfers or anything like that. But just get in there, see the city's finances.
Let's say
So, I mean,
something
just-
comes up and there's a question about of money in some account, and we get a hold of him on the phone, he's able to bid and say, yeah, I agree that,
Yeah, he
well,
can
I'm
do
reading
that.
it here, it's got
Yes.
85,000 in this,
This
so
would give
I
him,
concur.
if he's got that kind of access, the mayor granted him, yes, he can do that. Yeah.
So is Greg, when Greg's at home and observing the water flows and stuff, is that a remote access or is that a non?
That's something to do
standard?
with telemetry.
To
Something
be,
different.
yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure.
I think you got a little system.
It probably is, I can call and say 311 when there's a fire, and he can, from his house,
Yeah.
he can turn on, different, pump stations.
From his.
That's not through our network though, I don't think. It's something he's got.
Yeah, but would that not be considered?
I don't think that that's on our network, actually. He's got some direct communication with that.
I see. She's hooked up.
Maybe through telemetry or something like that.
In the ordinance,
I think it's so that if our system's down, we can control it anyway.
where it says mayor's office, who's included in mayor's office? So I'm looking at 2.4, 6, and 7. Who's included in mayor's office? Is that mayor and Tammy? Is that mayor and the clerk? You? I mean, so who's the mayor's office? Why didn't it just say mayor?
Don't have an answer for you. We can say mayor if that's what you.
If you want to
I
change
think
that, maybe.
I
it
probably
makes sense
prefer it
that.
just said mayor, because in the future, mayor's office might be construed as 3 or 4 people.
Right.
So I
We
think
can
I
just make that.
prefer it just said mayor.
Okay. And that's in 6, 2.
Well, it's in 6 and 7,
2.46.
6 and 7.
It's in 3, it's in 3.12. I guess that just says contact the mayor's office. That wouldn't be different.
Just
Contact your supervisor, yeah, that's,
6 and 7
Mayor.
is mayor, and I don't mind that.
yeah, 6 and 7.
Well, I mean, again, same principle, they call Tammy and Jerry.
Yeah, I don't think so. You're going to be consistent all the way through. I think.
Supervisor and mayor.
Like I said, I don't mind it now,
Well, that's just,
but maybe 10
that's
years
just,
from now.
that's
mayor's
just
office-
regarding information. I mean, I don't care if you want to scratch it from there too.
Well,
That don't be the same.
I'm more concerned about 2.4,
Okay.
number 6 and 7.
I will say that 3.02, when it's saying that is appropriate because Tammy is the liaison between DCR and the city with these
So we
issues.
should leave that the same.
And that's just
All right.
fine. I think that should be left.
Okay.
Okay.
I was really just skin to determine mayor's office.
I'm just more concerned about 2.4, 6, and 7.
Okay, I got that one.
Mark it.
We'll change it.
The mayor can designate, but it's still, I think it all resides with the mayor. And I'm not worried about how again, but just maybe
No,
10, 15, 20 years from now,
Sure.
just how it could be construed.
So, on
Then let's take out apostrophe S instead of many mayors, just one, right?
Mayor office.
I'm
So
just saying,
say
just
the
not the
mayor.
I
mayor.
know, I was
Okay.
trying to be funny, didn't work.
Are we still down to just those two, 6 and 7, that's it, right?
That's the only place I saw mayor's office. On 2.4, number 5,
Okay.
city agreement employers, employees and contractors remote access for the city agreement must not use non-city agreement email accounts or other external email to conduct city business. So technically, we're not city employees, are we city employees, we're getting paid?
That's the ones with remote access. So if you're using the remote access, they don't want you to be on those kind of sites, I guess, security reasons. So just
But
be
when
on
we
city
get-
agreement.
When I get an email that somebody sends, when somebody emails me through the city website and it bounces over to my private email, does that matter?
That's fine, you're
That's
just,
okay.
unless you're logged on remotely to
Okay.
the city.
All right.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's only because if you have remote access privileges, so.
Because
I
of-
mean, not, I don't think.
No, that's only in regard to those that are logged on remotely. Like you just accessing your Yahoo to get emails from us, no big deal.
From my perspective, yeah, while it was an unusual circumstance, I'm not advocating or not even asking to do anything that would put the city at risk. Well, the company that I used to work for, I would sign into a dedicated portal that emulated my desktop at work on my computer. nothing I did was outside of their security. So when I logged in and emulated everything at my desktop at work. So I could work from home and never go outside of the restrictions that was set in place by the company. So I couldn't do anything with my computer after it was taken over through the pipeline. Now, I didn't know how sophisticated everything was here or how lack of sophistication it was. It seems like what they have offered is like a $400 piece of equipment that I could put on my laptop, and I could do that very same thing, is just sign in through a dedicated portal to my system here. But I'm not, there's no real need to do that. I got my wife home now, so I'm hoping that we don't have those kind of situations, and getting here is not a problem for me.
Well, I mean, so they're saying they're saying that we have to make separate device attached to your laptop or your...
That was a suggestion that the salesperson made last Friday. I haven't given it to you because I didn't think I wanted to present that.
Because I'm with you, I have, remote access for my business, and it's just, once I get on, it's just like I'm at my desk.
Exactly. You do everything through their security. They don't get,
But right now.
I don't have to get another piece of equipment.
exactly. The white list and the black list of what sites you can go on is all controlled by the company. It's not controlled by me.
Do we allow some sort of remote access now at all?
No, this is our new territory in the policy.
Carl, it seemed to me like I used to be able to log on somehow or other and use a password if I was out of town and access my, visioneer and planning. Is that not true?
I don't know about that one.
Do what?
I don't know about that.
It's been a long time since I've done it, but it seemed to me like there was a password or something that I could go in there, use the password, and then I could pull up my files. But like I said, it's been a long time since I've used that, so I don't know whether, and that was before VCR, so.
Well, I think, department heads for sure. I mean, if the Chief Dawson or Chief Stewart, is out of town or something, and something comes up, and like they need to get in there or
The mayor would grant the access according to this, on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I'm okay with granting access as long as our technical infrastructure is beefed up enough to support.
That's why DCR, I had to revamp it, because I wanted
So
this.
you feel like we now are technologically able to safely allow remote access?
They said they can ratchet down the security on it to where you can't even print from where you are, you access remotely if we wanted to.
But is that with
How much does
an
that cost
additional?
us?
Nothing, there's no extra. I told them to use a block of hours to revamp this. I mean, that's only fair for
But
doing that.
it's not with the additional equipment, though. I mean, we can just do it from your laptop.
They didn't tell me about additional equipment.
Now I've got the proposal. But that was before any of what you're.
Before any of this, that was when we were trying to work on the fly from.
Right.
Yeah.
I have never had additional equipment, ever. Every company I work for, you go on the Cisco app and you go right into sign in. It logs you into their secured portal and it goes right into their pipeline. And it's right on your screen.
Well, I agree with the idea of allowing remote access, and I can see how that would be handy at different times. And this policy, the way I read it, seems adequate, and I would think we would need a policy if we're going to allow that. So I would make a motion to adopt this resolution, knowing that if we work through this, like with so many other things, like the personnel policy book, as we see things that need to be changed, y'all can bring it back to us and we can make amendments to the policy.
They can make it, hold it.
I'm making a motion.
Are you making that
The
motion?
mayor, not mayor's office.
Okay.
Those two changes in number
67.
67.
Okay.
Also in section 2, it specifically says any changes shall be made in the form of resolution approved by law.
So we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Terry?
Thank you. With that is all the items on the agenda. On the agenda now, we have department reports and questions from council. I don't know if there's anybody here that you'd like to ask, speak to, or hear from. We haven't already gotten some information. Council.
Well, I was just, ask you, how did your wife doing?
Long road of recovery. She got run over, broke her two bones in her neck. Her elbow came out of her arm this way. So then she's got a collapsed lung, broken ribs. She's got a broken pelvis. Not doing too good, but everybody I said that saw her initially when the helicopter landed in Little Rock said that they can't believe she actually made it. We talked to the trauma doctor, trauma physician, and he said that it was a miracle. There was no other way. That normally when they see people come in that bad, they're usually a statistic. So she has defied the odds and is back in the LTAC unit here in Mercy, and going to be there for about 2 months, luckily, before she starts some intensive rehab. Looks like her nerve bundle in her arm, they thought it was going to be amputated, but her nerve bundle in her arm is fine, and they've got the healing going on. They've closed the wound, so they're looking for scar tissue to come over. This Thursday, we're going back to Little Rock, and they're taking off the apparatus, the immobilizer, stabilizer bar, so she can start moving her elbow. Just every day, she's getting stronger and stronger, so we're hoping that hopefully by the holidays, we can have her at least home and into extensive therapy. Right now, she can't move any of her leg on the right side because of the nerves are a little bit damaged, a little bit aggravated, as he likes to say. So appreciate everybody's prayers. It's helped a lot. I don't wish anybody getting that call.
Well, I know that this puts, we have family issues and stuff like that. I just didn't know if this would, I hate to say that, but as far as the, budgeting coming out and everything like that, we could give you more leeway with that, or?
No, I went through a whole month through the help of everybody here giving me a good exposure to what a month is like and what the processes are. And that's a good building block for me. The only thing that delayed is me getting with Michelle from Bell Barkley, rather, and we've gotten in touch with her. We've gone through a couple of other things that happened, such as the purchase of the property and putting of that on our books. There's a lot of things that had to be changed over with the bank accounts and signatory cards and so forth. So there was a lot in motion, and then the incident happened. So it took away a lot of my time. I had to fill in doing midnight shifts, trying to get caught up on things. And I didn't want anybody to do it for me. She was good enough to just keep putting it in my inbox so that I could go through those processes and see everything that would come through in a month. I needed to see that, so I'm kind of appreciative of that. And their forbearance and saying, I understand, and take it at your time. But I'm at the point now where she's I've got family here now. I've got a support cast that is with her right now, so I don't see it as an issue. I think that I can work with the fine folks here.
We generally pass our budget right on time in this city.
Without,
actually
Be a
seen
big
that.
deal, big deal,
without fail.
Yep.
big deal, no pressure.
Wouldn't you be surprised if we did this year?
Shocked. It'd be great.
well, for remote access, do you have a suitable laptop, or is that something that we would need as a city to provide you?
No, the laptop I do have, and that would be the one that it's on a docking station. That would be the one that would actually get the access.
Okay.
Because it's the laptop that I currently use.
Correct.
It just allows me a pipeline into their server.
It's
But
the city already
city's
owns it.
already owns
Okay,
it.
great. I didn't know if it was the desktop you had, or if it was a laptop.
It's a laptop.
Okay, great.
And Tom wouldn't do this, obviously, but there is there's an account, and I'm unfamiliar whether it's called again, but it's in Tia's behalf at Arvest Bank.
Arvest Bank has an account set up, Arvest Cares account set up for her medical fund. You heard about the Airback, that was $57,000. Wow. Yeah, I just got that bill Friday, talking about getting a heart attack. The ambulance drive from Little Rock to here is over $5,000. It's going to be about $7,500 Thursday for her to go back and come back. So via ambulance. So the bills are just like astronomical. It's going to be almost about a $2 million case is done.
So we've got you for a while.
Pretty much, indented servitude, yeah.
But the counts there are best, and since it's, I know Letitia.
Each March,
and
medical
so-
fund.
Okay, so if you're interested in contributing.
Happen to win the lottery, and
Yeah,
then
there you go.
The back on cross street.
And sometime later, if I haven't already told you, not tonight, but we will, I want Mr. Tom to stand in front of you and describe his appearance on The Price is Right. It's priceless here, so you have to hear it. Maybe we'll do it at Christmas party.
Yeah.
Anybody, any other questions or comments from any department heads from council? If not, go into council forum, whatever you want to discuss.
I just got one question. How can we get trees cut back on Main Street on the sidewalk? You came right there, Mr. Gary and North Main, right there, up. The trees were really hanging over the side, you gotta walk the ditch.
On Gary and,
If you're at the four-way stop at the school, you turn left up there, take a right up on the sidewalk, and start to go up North Main. The trees, those bushes are all.
Yeah,
You
the
can't
same
even
part.
walk.
I wondered the same thing.
I mean, it's,
that are on private property. You're talking, I'm just trying to make sure I know what you're talking.
yes, yeah, but if they're hanging over the
On
sidewalk,
Main or on?
On Main.
Okay.
the sidewalk runs all the way up Main. All the way up, go right there from Gary.
Yeah. Right.
There's about a, I don't
Oh,
know, 50-yard section out
Yeah,
there.
I
You can't
remember
even
now, I used to
walk.
walk it quite a bit. Yeah.
I stayed there today.
And I don't know if that comes under just us going up and cutting them because they're in on the sidewalk or, I mean, I'll pay a visit to.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we'll see what we can.
next time I walk there, I'll mind stepping on it.
I've got a battery car. can't
Maybe
take it.
that could be arranged, yeah.
But I'm just curious, I
Yeah.
mean, because I know it's,
Yeah,
actually, when you walk up there now, there's a little trail down the ditch.
On the outside.
It was great.
Avoiding it.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check into that. I'm not gonna sign it, but that's not really it.
Round
Round that up. That is not,
I mean, I know that's not hugely important, but I just,
it can't be for those that are trying to stay fit.
I mean,
Okay, we'll check into it. Anything else, council?
I just, again, you know, probably come up during the previous section, but Sonny, where do we stand on like the annexation?
Glad you asked. Make it quick. But the mayor and I went down to Rocky Rock the other day. The information I have sent to Brixie, and we have got the first draft of the corridors that we're looking at with the legal description. And I'm going back and I'm verifying that. But the mayor and I felt like we needed to talk to, and I think y'all all agreed that we needed to stay in touch with the municipal league throughout this process to make sure that we're doing it right. And so we went down there, I showed him the map, we talked about certain things, different things, and he has come up with some excellent pointers on how we need to proceed forward with this as far as informing the public. Is to make sure that they understand that this is a protection move for our corridors. This is to stop certain things like XXX businesses out here on 71, right at the entrance of our city, salvage yards, things like this. So, you know, the other part of that is that, yeah, we will get some tax benefits from it, and as the city grows and more commercial comes in, then we will reap the benefits of that. But I think the protection of the corridor was something I had thought of, and so therefore that's kind of where we're on that. But I'd say by the next council meeting, I'll show you the maps and we'll move forward with that.
Great, appreciate it.
We also talked to him about the zoning. You know, we've planning commission has come up with, you know, we're trying to redo our zoning map and update it. And I wasn't sure how we're supposed to do that. You know, do we go through and do we inform every person in town that we want to change the zoning here, zoning there? because it says you got to post and publish. And he said, no. He said, you go back and you do your land use. He said, do away with your own, come in with a new land use resolution and not an ordinance. He said, that way it can be massaged as you need to. And then also go back and look at your comprehensive plan and make those changes and show this area here is a transitional area so that when somebody comes in and they want to build, for example, a nice duplex, you get away from the spot zoning that way. You have said in your land use resolution that this area is a transitional area, so when somebody comes in and they talk to the planning commission and the board of adjustments and wants a variance to put in a duplex, they can do that. So it's good information. Good information.
Very good, appreciate it, thanks, Simon. Anything else, council?
Chief, no, good, Mayor.
Last week, we went down and cut all the locks off, and the street department came out and loaded up the extra holes. There are 2 locks on there, one for gas company, one for ours. Simon's got access, electric company by law has to have access because of the meter box on there. And as of right now, the gun range association is ready to turn over deeds, basically, the account that's got, I think, $7,000 something in it. And basically, I needed to ask you tonight, which is great that you asked me, is if we want to keep an association or totally get rid of the association and just consider Greenwood Police Department City Range. So that money would have to go into general fund, maybe its own line item, because it's downhill, and all that money can certainly be used to try to get it back up to par, and needs to be used for that.
What's your thought on the association?
I don't know what the benefit was or would be if we kept the association. I'm not sure what Mike thinks is a better idea.
What does the association consist of?
It's about 10 agencies, ICE, Fort Smith, Sebastian County, Lavaca, Marlin, FBI, DEA, State Police.
So you're saying it's up to us whether the association exists or not exists?
Well, I mean, basically, we're still going to allow them to, I guess, purchase access the same way, regardless of which way we go. I'm not sure if Mike knows which way would be the better way legally for us to go, but I just found out this stuff today, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it.
Sounds like to me, if we're going to cut the locks off and all that stuff, we just take possession of it and they want to use it.
That's what I would do. If they wanna use it, then they can come before the council and ask permission to do so.
Well, I don't have any issue getting up front of the camera and saying, I don't even know what range dues were, but continue allowing them to pay range dues, and that would go into the keep up the
The
process.
access, so if they pay range dues, and they're saying, okay, we're gonna come out this Saturday and shoot, the access would be Greenwood through.
Right, we got keys.
We're gonna always control access.
Yes.
That would be the only thing I'd be concerned about. It seems like part of how we got to this was,
Well, these are keys, it's always been a combination, so anyone's could call and say, hey, it's a combination, and then give it to the brother, and you got people up there.
key copies too.
Well,
keys
we've got a
out,
big key
posts,
ring that's got a big thing on it that says do not duplicate, and we're gonna weld that shut so you can't take the key off to make a copy of it without destroying that key ring.
Okay. I think it's
Some of
long-
those keys that you can buy locks, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would be something that we look into.
As long as we're having controlled access, I don't have any issue with charging dues, however y'all want to do it to get them.
We're getting electric changed over right now also.
I did that today.
Okay.
Well, at this point, the association has been paying for upkeep, mowing it, keeping everything the way it should be. So now it's totally us. Y'all are going to assume the responsibility of mowing it, making sure it's all straight, or are we shifting that to some other department?
Well, I have
You're
no
one
idea
department,
talking, but believe Simon said he was gonna do it. And Mark had a conversation with Simon, which I don't know.
I'm gonna send my brush hog down there here probably this week, brush hog y'all. We did the road already once, I personally did the road. So we're gonna mow it down, we're gonna help out with the backhoe out there, they want to change some things around. So, talk with Mark, we're gonna help out with that. So, let's go back and shape.
So was this, you do it once and then you own it probably, are you gonna continue to do this, or you're gonna get an outside contractor to go mow it, or?
I mean, we do what we have to do to make the city a better place, so, I mean, if we have to mow every once in a while, we mow it.
Here, here.
Say it again, Simon.
I like your attitude.
Say it again.
That's good, fast.
Simon, you eat too.
With that money, we want to get some things to help the upkeep out there.
What do you recommend, some sort of letterhead from the mayor to agencies, apprising them of the situation, yada, yada?
Well, a few of them already called us because they were scheduled and went out there and found that they couldn't get in. And John Kenny's got the old sign and he's put on there, Greenwood Police Department Range for access. I can't remember exactly what I said on there. They'll have the phone number and it's getting out there, they know that they have to call us to schedule the range.
I bet if you need help with that access, John Bailey would probably assist with that. Certain folks have to.
Well, I know the Hollands are real happy about it.
Just because John Bailey will quit calling.
Right.
Well, my thing is, we're gonna take it over, which I'm sure you will make it a lot nicer than what it is, because last time I got there, it was like,
It's one to play down.
it's, terrible.
It
We
needs a lot
can
more.
make it nice, and then you can get a premium price for the, you know what I'm saying, it's nice enough, and we put those funds back in it, I mean, we can, you know what I'm saying, I mean, make them understand. If you don't leave it like you found it, this is what's going on, I mean, you're gonna get X. I mean, that's just what I feel.
Well, I said, we're going to do that. They know that the police, the brass, and all that, no one does that stuff now. There's shotgun cartridges.
Because I know how people are, I mean, if it ain't theirs, I mean, I know how it is, I'll hell, they'll just leave that, and they can pick it up, you know, that type of deal, but if we kind of.
Well, I think we have something, or some kind of cleanup fee if they don't clean up.
There you go. Yeah. Cool.
Well, I mean,
Good team.
I agree with that. I mean, I just want to kind of have a good relationship with the state police.
Can we have a city council?
DEA.
Well, you really need to fix the targets because they're way off.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about
They're
that.
moving when they're trying to.
Yeah, they're blowing all over the place.
I got some new guns I want to shoot.
Maybe, maybe just,
Well, hopefully like a PR deal that once, maybe a few months from now, the range day.
Cool.
Our guys, but we'll just a little PR thing.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Chief. Anybody else? If not, we're not ready to entertain a motion, then we're ready to give me one.
We're ready to give your shit.
Okay, my little spiel. Couple of things. And Simon really did say something really important right there, and I just want you to know that that is echoed more often than not, and they may not always say it, and no, we don't sit around singing Kumbaya every day. Some days we do, but like that. But I just want to tell you that the department heads really are working well together, and they're just, you know, it's just working really well. I mean, people are trying to help each other and not getting away and being an asset to each other and still working against each other. So I'm proud of them for that. Two things to remember in your prayers, if not many other things other than obviously this being 9/11 and all those people that don't have moms and dads and grandparents and kids and all that anymore due to that. But remember those folks and emergency personnel lost their lives trying to save other people. But I have two special requests. Of course, one being Tom's wife, who we've heard about tonight. You've heard her condition, and while she has a really long road ahead of her, just Tom's such an asset to the city already. I mean, you can just hear him talk, and I think Chief told me this afternoon outside, it's just nice to have numbers on a piece of paper that makes sense, and it's
I
just,
think he was asked to do that. He just
Yeah, and he gets excited about it, I think is what Stuart said, that he likes what he does, and it's obvious that he does, so I think we've been blessed with that. And the other thing is my dad, just on a real personal note, he's under what they're calling palliative care, I didn't know what that was, but, and slash hospice at our house. He's just went from going everywhere to hardly going at all, so if you remember him in your prayers, and he's ready. There is no question about it. If anybody ever was ready to be my dad. But, anyway, remember him in prayer, and us too. So I would ask for a motion to dismiss, adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
She's like, I'm gonna get a shark. I got a chest goes, oh my God. I got it. No, it's the ass. Yeah. Thank you. Not beer. No, it is. That's the one that we got.
Yes, well, yes,
Somebody else.
That's not for sale.